years. In some places in this video, the picture may not match the audio, but it was still made with a lot of hard work and turned out very well. Thanks for watching. Our team would really appreciate it if you put a like and subscribe. In the comments you can suggest us a manga for recap. Enjoy watching!
There is a battle going on between a boy and a goblin in armor. The boy wields his sword and kills another goblin, who screams for the hero to stay away from him. The rest of the soldiers are shocked by this sight. One of the girls even vomits with horror. It is explained to the readers that the protagonist is a swordsman named Seto wielding a demonic blade. The hero turns to one of the soldiers and calls him by name, Reed. The soldier himself covers his nose in disgust. Reed announces that his work is done for the day. Approaching Seto, he admits that he had no idea how cruel the protagonist is. From this point on, Reed declares Seto's exclusion from the group of 5 heroes. Seto is shocked by this statement and doesn't know what to do. Reed says that the hero will probably become some kind of bandit, capable only of killing. Reed angrily proclaims that if Seto's fate does turn out that way, his team will do anything to bring down the hero. Reid leaves Seto, and the latter is left to stand alone. Wandering the forest alone, Seto ponders his situation. He used to take orders from adults and fight when necessary. Without elaborating on this thought, the hero comes to the conclusion that the first thing to do is to get sustenance. But a rustle in the leaf distracts Seto's attention. He stops and crouches down slightly. The rustle is repeated again, and the hero snatches his blade from its sheath. A wounded girl named Satis appears before the hero. Seto prepares for battle and pulls out 2 blades at once, because in front of him is the captain of the army of the Demon Lord, that constantly puts sticks in the wheels of the hero. The demoness takes a couple of steps forward, which alarms Seto. However, exhausted, she falls to the ground in front of the hero. Seto is perplexed and decides to figure out what's going on. After throwing the girl on his back, Seto brings her into his house, puts her to bed and covers her with a blanket. However, the demoness wakes up after a while and shrieks in fear, causing the frightened hero to draw his sword. Satis, in tears, begs for forgiveness and to stop. This behavior confuses Seto. Seto declares that he won't touch the girl, but for his own safety, the guy hides behind a table. Satis, who has more or less come to her senses, asks the hero if he is a member of the group of 5 heroes. The guy answers in the affirmative. The girl asks if he would kill her, but Seto replies that he has no reason to do such a thing to her, and it's unlikely that he could outsmart the demon commander. Seto annoyingly states that he is not a member of the 5 heroes, saying that he has been through a lot. Seto asks the demoness about her, but she only mumbles without giving a concrete answer. Seto reminds the girl that she once looked down on him. Instead of answering, the girl admits that she is the only one to blame for her current situation, even though she wants so badly to blame Seto. The girl tried many times to break the 5 heroes, but each attempt failed. Because of this, the Demon Lord became frustrated with his subordinate and sentenced her to punishment. The Lord wanted the girl to feel intense remorse before she died, causing her body to be tortured and beaten. Even low-level demons were wiping their feet on the girl's body, and the only thing she felt at this time was fear. Luckily for her, she was able to escape right before the new batch of torture and make her way to the forest. The girl states that she escaped because she was afraid of death. Seto decides to tell about himself. Satis is okay with his decision, but warns that she might find the boy's story boring. Seto shares that not only was he excluded from the 5 heroes, but he was also called a common killer. Continuing his story, Seto says that adults always ordered him to fight, and to avoid being beaten for disobeying, the boy obeyed orders. After Seto received the demon blade, the adults became more lenient towards him. The hero didn't understand why, but thought that since he was treated well, he wouldn't have any problems. However, Reed told him that it was a mistake to let Seto into the group. Reed points out that Seto only knows how to kill and fight, that there is no dignity or cooperativeness in prana. Reid emotionally reminds Seto that the purpose of their quest is to save humanity, not kill it, to which Seto states that fighting implies being killed, and there are only 2 things possible in the world: kill or be killed. Reid is not going to finish listening to Seto and expels him from the group. A puzzled Satis asks the hero if it's okay for him to tell her about something like this, but the hero assures the girl that it's okay and that he can't go back to the kingdom anyway. Seto says that he has no place to go back to and no people to worry about him. The girl asks the boy if he's lonely, to which the boy doesn't even know what to answer. Seto asks Satis what adults do when in a similar situation, but the girl also has no answer. Turning away from the guy, she lies on the bed. Meanwhile, Seto only sits on the floor in frustration. A sleepy Seto is afraid of being late for practice, but he quickly remembers that he doesn't need to attend anymore. With Satis still asleep on the bed, the boy heads outside. Noticing an apple tree, he starts picking the fruit. Noticing Satis, he creeps closer. The girl has just stepped out of the house and is staring pensively into the distance. Her serene appearance confuses the hero, as he notes that the demoness has just woken up and wonders why she is standing in one place. Holding out her hand towards Seto, she lifts the boy up with one swing, after which the boy lands on the ground. Satis says that girls don't like their shadows staring at them. Apples fall out of Seto's bag, and the boy excuses himself, saying that he wanted to bring fruit for a girl's breakfast. The guy asks Satis if she likes fruit. After mewling a bit, she answers in the affirmative. The girl notes that Seto not only saved her, but also decided to feed her. To this, the guy reminds the guest that he is not a member of the Five Heroes since some time. That's why he decides to become a bandit, but realizes that if he returns to his homeland, he'll surely be quartered. But for Seto, there's no longer a division between friends and enemies. Satis smirkingly informs him that if the boy captures her, he can avoid the death penalty. But Seto indifferently replies that he will not do the same. The demoness is surprised by his calmness. The girl thinks that Seto is overcome with a sense of humility because he was exhausted by all the events in his life. She realizes that neither she nor he has anywhere else to go. Abruptly, frightened birds fly over the characters. An anxious Satis assumes it's because of the demons. The girl is immediately overcome with panic. Seto, looking at his companion, assumes that she can't move from fear. Meanwhile, the smirking demons are approaching them, having finally found their mistress. The monsters recognize Seto from the signs of the humans they smelled. The monsters announce that they will eat both the girl and the guy. However, the demoness will be tortured again before the feast. The boar monster laughingly says that after torturing Satis, he started to enjoy playing with women. The boar casts his gaze at Seto and insults him, mentioning that the boy supposedly can't say a word out of fear. The boar points his blade at the boy, intending to kill him along with the girl. Fearing the blow, Satis raises her hands, but Seto stands in front of her, protecting her with his body. The boar rushes towards the guy, but Seto summons his blade with the lot spell. Seto pierces the belly of the enemy, causing the monster to scream in fear. The other demons watch the scene with fear. Jumping above the boar's head, Seto plans to deliver the final blow. Seto chops the boar in one fell swoop. The angry monsters prepare to attack the hero. Noticing this, Satis orders Seto to flee, as these monsters are much stronger than the others. Two monsters, a goblin and a spider, attack Seto together, but the boy dodges and fights them one by one. Seto cuts the spider with one blow, and no wonder, because he has a magic sword, which has a power beyond human comprehension. Since magical times, there hasn't been a single person who has been able to use it. Those who utilize the magical power are called fit for the magic sword. The sword resembles destruction and storm, much like Seth's name. Seth ruthlessly and calmly finishes off the remaining monsters. Finished with the battle, Seto dissolves his blade in the air. Turning to the girl, he looks on with calm, cold eyes. Even after the battle, his mind remained empty. The boy asks Satis if she is hurt, and the demoness wonders to him if he is helping her. Seto gives a very simple reason why he's helping the girl. If the demons kill her, they won't leave her alive, and the boy just wants to live. In her thoughts, Satis catches herself on the fact that, unlike Seto in the past, only with amusement watched her enemies writhing in pain. But now she has lost everything, and her pride is shattered. She says with shame that she now fears demons beneath her in rank, which makes her feel weak. Satis fearfully confesses her insignificance, but Seto reassures her, saying that feeling fear during battle is normal, and he too has been through similar things. Seto continues, saying that both demons and humans are the same in battle, and each has their own goals, and he has seen many people lose their lives on the battlefield. This comforts Satis a bit, and she notes that Seto is pretty weird. However, The guy still doesn't understand why she said that. The girl gets up from her seat and, holding her hand to her chest, thanks the hero. Afterward, she wonders what the boy plans to do now. Seto excitedly tells her that he plans to start traveling and that he dreams of having his own place. Seto immediately offers Satis to join him. But the girl is a bit unsure, as she doesn't know where exactly her place is, and she is ashamed of her former actions in front of the boy. But Seto assures that from now on, they are comrades, not enemies. The embarrassed girl wipes away a tear of joy, then agrees to the adventure from her new friend. The girl then clarifies what the guy's name is, to which the guy says his name has always been Seto. The girl responds by saying her name is Satis. The heroes shake hands, and Satis asks to take care of her, taking the boy to meet her adventures. Satis takes a bath. She never even thought she would be able to relax in water again. A few hours earlier, Satis and Seto are walking through the forest. The boy sneaks around on the ground, and the girl asks him to stop and get to his feet. The boy replies that there are possible attacks near the Demon King's territory, and that the girl needs to duck as well. To her companion's words, the girl replies that there is nothing like that in the demon army, and then urges the guy to get up and walk in step. Seto agrees. Seto tells the demonist that if demons appear, he will destroy them. Under a tree, Seto and Satis are eating apples, and the boy notices that the girl is very good at peeling fruit. No wonder, for she has nimble fingers. Seto eats the fruit with appetite, and the girl says that the boy must have eaten delicious food in the group of heroes. However, the boy replies that he was often forgotten about. Seto was often told that he needed to stretch his diet since he could only fight. Therefore, the boy had to eat in dark corners away from prying eyes. The girl laughs that the boy was weak during the fight with her because of hunger. In her thoughts, the girl doesn't understand why the boy doesn't try to take revenge on the hero team for treating him like that. Noticing the thoughtfulness of the interlocutor, the guy asks what is on her mind. The girl only waves him off. Satis asks Seto what their plans are after leaving the city, to which the guy expresses his desire to go to the city. Hearing this, the girl suggests visiting the city's famous bathhouse. The guy doesn't mind. He asks if the bathhouse has a time limit and gets the answer that there is no time limit, but it's better not to sit there for a long time, as it can make you dizzy. The girl flirtatiously says that there are joint baths in the bathhouse, but the guy doesn't even know what they are. Satis asks Seto about money, and the guy is taken aback at what he hears, but the girl reassures him by saying she has human coins. The couple walks into a town called Clayshat. In a large bathroom, a girl wrapped in a towel intends to take a bath. The girl immerses herself in the water and relaxes. She is reflecting on the fact that she despised humans in the king's army, and now she is taking a bath in a human bath. The girl was interested in the baths in the city, but she planned to take them over. Before the demonist's eyes flashes memories of the torture that was carried out on her. This depresses the girl a bit. Sitting on the tiles, dipping her feet into the water, the girl realizes that she should definitely thank Seto. The girl wonders if Seto knows how to behave in places like this, but concludes that the guy isn't a kid, so neither worry. However, Seto stands in the middle of the bathroom with a bucket in his hands and intends to become a fish. But unfortunately for the boy, he is grabbed by the shoulder by an unknown man with a beard and informed that it is forbidden to swim in the bathhouse. This annoys the hero. Together they dive into the water, and the man asks if the boy is a traveler, to which Seto answers in the affirmative. The man tells him that baths are great for relieving fatigue after battles, but baths are different. Seto asks if the man is a mercenary, as he doesn't look like a regular soldier, and the man grudgingly replies to the guy that he is. Seto shares with the man his dream of visiting many places and having his own house. The man inquires if Satis is involved in Seto's places. Upon hearing the girl's name, the guy gets angry. However, the stranger calms him down. After taking his towel, the stranger leaves, saying that the hero can find it on the battlefield. The guy asks the stranger's name, to which he gets the answer, Holmes. After the bath, Satis and Seto come to a spacious diner. The girl orders a lot of food for the guy. Satis says it's ingratitude. The overjoyed guy tears the meat with his mouth. It's so delicious that Seto blooms. Seeing the girl eat, he notes that important people always use manners. The girl notes that the guy, though mature, is still a kid. The boy assumes that because of his ability to handle a magic sword, he often had to socialize with adults. hence the peculiarities of his character. The boy admits that he is jealous of Satis. This takes the girl aback. Blushing, the boy shares that during the battles he only imitated adults. Because of this, he could not recognize himself. And seeing the girl laughing carefree or angry, he is very jealous. The girl is fascinated by the boy's honesty. The girl reflects on the fact that the human aspect of Seto has remained unchanged. He is not broken by the harsh conditions of life. The boy thanks Satis for the food, and the girl admits that she understands the boy a little better. The boy is perplexed, and the demoness explains that she thinks Seto is a wonderful young man. When Seto hears this, he only gets embarrassed and blushes. Seto asks Satis to take a walk with him before they return to the lodge, as he wants to spend some more time with the girl. The girl giggles and holds out her hand and agrees to the guy's offer. While walking through the city at night, Seto gazes admiringly at his companion and wonders in his mind about the new feeling he is experiencing for the first time. Meanwhile, the hero's team is running through the forest, and the commander is puzzled as to why this happened. A pack of monster wolves surrounds the hero group. The commander tells the terrified team to regroup. One of the participants, Angelica, tries to read a spell, but she is attacked by a wolf. The girl dodges. She realizes that she doesn't have time to use her powers and asks the group to distract the monsters. Another girl says that it is impossible to fulfill Angelica's request, as she is pinned down by wolves. Raid takes out a huge number of monsters in one fell swoop. Due to the number of monsters, the commander orders a retreat. The team of heroes retreats far beyond the territory of the Demon King. An angry Angelica says that the team has nothing, not even water. One of the mages says that such a thing happened because the team got caught in the attack of the defenders. However, Angelica disagrees. In her opinion, the swordswoman and mage should have focused on the enemies. Tired of yelling, the commander asks Angelica to calm down. However, the girl accuses the commander of being irresponsible and asks why he chased Seto away. The girl says that due to Seto's absence, the overall strength of the team has dropped significantly. The commander justifies by saying that Seto's strength does not help humanity, but Angelica does not want to hear such naive excuses. Swordswoman Gara asks not to criticize Ride, as the entire team supported the decision to banish Seto. To this, Angelica sneers and asks what the swordswoman hopes for now that she has such charging skills. Gara says that she doesn't care about the girl's insults, but she won't forgive her if she insults the martial art invented by her father. The mage asks the girls to calm down, as their quarrel makes absolutely no sense. The mage suggests they rest, and afterward find a village nearby and replenish their supplies. Angelica says that one of the heroes should stay on guard. Angelica looks at the commander and reminds him that it is because of his decision that Seto is no longer on the team. Hearing this, Ride lets his group go to rest, while he himself stays on guard. Sitting on the ground, Ride wonders why things have turned out the way they have. While walking through the city at night, Seto admires Satis' beauty in his thoughts. Noticing the boy's gaze, the demoness wonders why the boy is looking at her so intently. The embarrassed boy only brushes it off. At the hotel, the girl takes a room, but it has only one bed. Seto intends to sleep on the floor, but Satis suggests that they share the bed and share it. A blushing Seto asks the demoness if she's okay with this, to which she replies that she doesn't care. The girl makes one condition: do not touch her under any circumstances. Hearing this, the guy stands in mute shock. Left alone, the boy ponders. Up until now, he has done nothing but follow the orders of adults, bait for monsters, fence territories while his comrades rest. He has been tortured and interrogated many times, used as a vanguard and rearguard. But even despite his hard life, the boy doesn't realize that life didn't prepare him for such things, which makes the boy very worried. A worried Seto decides to escape through the window, but doesn't manage to do so, as Satis enters the room. The girl presents in her nightie, consisting of a short skirt and a top. Seeing her, the guy is shy and doesn't know where to put himself. Seeing his confusion, the girl asks what exactly the guy wants to say. The girl comes closer and puts her hand on the guy's cheek, saying that Seto must be embarrassed. The girl is mortified by this. The guy jumps on the floor as he doesn't understand how he can share a bed with Satis dressed in such revealing clothes. The girl leans her back against the hero's back. Though she has forbidden to touch her, she has not forbidden to look at her. The boy asks what adults do in a situation like this, and the girl laughingly says she doesn't know. Seto and Satis are lying on the same bed. The girl is sleeping peacefully, but the boy can't even close his eyes from excitement. The hero realizes that he can't sleep, knowing in what form the girl is next to him. The hero feels the pleasant aroma of flowers coming from Satis. Seth imagines that the girl whispers in his ear and touches him. In the boy's imagination, the girl lulls the boy to sleep and asks him to rest. The boy gives in and falls asleep. The reader realizes the passing had nothing to do with the hero's imagination. Satis used magic to calm the hero. In the morning, the hero wakes up and remembers everything that happened during the night. However, he can't tell if it was in his head or happened in reality. Seto falls off the bed and hits his head. He is noticed by Satis for doing so. She invites the guy over for breakfast. The boy is mumbling, and the girl suspects that the boy is sick. Putting her hand to his forehead, she notes the boy's lack of temperature. This gesture confuses the hero, which makes him blush. The boy starts to change his clothes quickly, but his hands are shaking and he feels pain in his chest. Seto is perplexed. He doesn't understand what's happening to him. The heroes are having a throaty breakfast on a table outside. Seto is delighted by the abundance of food on the table. However, even though the breakfast is appetizing, Seto can't help but stare at Satis, who is sitting across the table. The girl notices the guy looking around and wonders if he's okay. The guy just says nothing happened and takes a bite of a piece of toast. However, smears himself with sauce. The girl notices this and viterates the guy's lip with her finger. Satis licks his finger. Seto shocks me with this picture. And the girl smilingly reprimands him for looking indecently in her direction. The flushed guy is panicking a lot. He's embarrassed by the fact that he's never been treated so nicely before. Seto tries to regain his composure by reminding himself that he's a soldier. Seto asks the girl if she would mind if they split up today. The guy argues that he wants to see the sights. With a smirk, the girl reminds the guy of his request from yesterday to see the night city in the company of a demoness. This leaves the guy confused, and he starts to panic. Satis, on the other hand, only laughs. Satis agrees to Seth's proposal. The girl says that she intends to visit one particular place. The boy is walking alone. This is the first time he's gotten out somewhere without people. Since he met Satis, he has been lucky enough to experience many new things. While daydreaming, Seto bumps into Holmes. Once in town, Satis warns Seto not to use the magic sword or start fights. The girl explained that the one who uses a magic sword will be called a monster. The girl also admonished the guy not to go back to the past, as Seto is now starting to live a different life. After listening to the girl, the boy makes a promise. Holmes greets Seto happily and asks about Satis. But hearing about the demoness, the guy only blushes and mumbles. Holmes only grins and says that some things should remain behind closed doors. Holmes suggests that Seto take a walk with him. The man leads the boy to a gun store. Seto asks Holmes about his work, and he talks about how parts of conquered monsters are brought into the city to create weapons and armor. Holmes explains that the mercenaries are escorting the transportation of monster parts. The mercenary says that this is the place where Seto can have a date with Satis and watch the mercenaries work at the same time. But Seto only hastily informs that he and Satis are not in a relationship. Holmes only says with a smile that the kid has fallen in love with someone who has been looking after him for a while. Seto is only embarrassed to see this. The mercenary pats the youngster's back encouragingly. Seto notices a huge monster being brought in on a cart, a species, a rare dragon. For a second, the boy looks around. He worries about Satis, who might panic at the sight of the dead dragon. Holmes says goodbye to Seto. The boy wants to tell his name, but the mercenary assures him that it is useless and that he will continue to call his friend Kid. Having said goodbye to Holmes, Seto runs in search of Satis, as the hero has a bad feeling. Panic starts in the street because of the dragon that suddenly woke up. Seto wants to pull out his magic sword. However, he realizes that he will break the promise he made to Satis. He realizes that if he uses the sword, it will cause trouble for both him and the girl. An unknown man runs up to the boy. He yells for the boy to run. Seto asks if he has seen Satis. He is answered by another stranger saying that the demoness is in the square. In his thoughts, the hero swears to Satis that he will save her. A little earlier, the dev walked around the city. She gathered information about the situation in the city. On the same street, a man is chopping the tail of a monster to use the materials for weapons. Looking at the monster's dead body, Devcam feels terrible. She plans to leave the square, but the dragon suddenly wakes up. The dragon heads towards the girl. Satis tries to calm herself down so she can attack. The demoness body is stony with terror. The girl thanks Seto in her thoughts for their time together and apologizes for leaving him alone again. Sitting on the ground and remembering their happiest moments, she confesses that she would like to live together with Seto. Opening her eyes, she sees a man in a monkey mask in front of her. Citizens gather in the square. None of the people can realize who the unknown masked guy is. It is only Satis who recognizes Seto. The dragon catches Seto's gaze and attacks, but he manages to dodge. The monster hits the guy with his tail, but Seto speeds straight towards the dragon. The guy approaches the dragon's neck and strikes. The excited townspeople cheer Seto on. Satis realizes that Seto won't last long, as he moves too fast. The sword he uses is ordinary and will break soon. The dragon kicks the floor and a city tile bounces off the ground and hits Seto in the face, causing his mask to split from underneath. Seto instructs Satis to run. The girl in alarm can't even move. She realizes that Seto has saved her life several times already, and she can't let the kid protect her forever. Suddenly, the monster gets hit from the side. This comes as a surprise to Seto. It's Satis. She uses magic to strike the monster while covering Seto. Due to the girl's blows, smoke and dust envelopes the area. This maneuver was done so that Seto could use his magic sword. After throwing away the regular sword, the guy summons the magic sword. Having shortened the distance between himself and the dragon, the guy kills the bridge with a single blow. The citizens are wild over the dead body of the dragon. They want to thank Seto and Satis, but the pair flee the scene. Satis runs to the hotel and finds Seto sitting quietly in the room, pretending to know nothing about the dragon and the commotion in the city. The girl plays along with Seto. Satis hugs the hero and thanks him for keeping his promise. The heroes plan to leave the city and head to the northern village. Meanwhile, in the Demon Kingdom, the Demon King angrily reprimands his subordinates for not finding Satis. Ever since the girl escaped the kingdom, the demon army has been losing to the humans. The king orders that someone named Sebuk be sent to the battlefields. Upon hearing this, the monsters become distraught. The monster's object, as Sebuk, is half demon and half human, and such a brutal monster should only be used in the latter case. The king confesses his reluctance to use the half-demon, but he has no other choice. One of the demons brings an affirmative order to Sebuk. Sitting on a rock and holding a huge sword, Sebuk rejoices at the opportunity to take more lives. Satis and Seto stroll carefree along the tract. The girl notes that the Demon King has begun to lose his grip. An enthusiastic Seto points out the snow on the mountaintops to the girl. The girl notes that the temperature is cooler on the peaks. The girl says that after the war, anyone will be able to walk safely on the tract. Hearing this, the guy wishes for peace to come as soon as possible. In the distance, Seto notices a body on the ground. Running closer, it turns out to be a girl. The stranger wakes up and grabs the guy's ankle. She screams for water and food and then pounces on Seto. However, Seto wraps the girl's hands behind her back and throws her to the ground. After calming down, she admits that she is hungry. A girl dressed as a soldier pounces on the food, apologizing in parallel for attacking Seto. Her name is Kalim, and she was sent to Benjamin Village. However, she got lost. Seto and Satis say their names, and Kalim they seem familiar. The kid invites Kalim to join them. Satis doesn't like the idea as the couple risks being exposed. Seto reassures the demoness by saying that he doesn't feel any danger from the soldier. Oh, and Kalim looks like Holmes, which gives Seto some credibility. The Trinity finally arrives at the village of Weirdos. Kalim goes to find the headman. They are greeted by the headman, a nice old woman named Scarlet. Satis calls Seto his relative. It shocks the boy, but the girl convinces him that this way the interlocutor will be calmer. Scarlet asks Satis and Seto what they are doing in her village. The demoness replies that the couple is traveling and asks to stop for a few nights. Scarlet assigns the trio one of the houses. The old woman shares that the villagers are all like Seto and Satis, and their coming to this place is predestined by fate. The old woman wants to show her guests her new home, but a homing pigeon flies into the room and delivers a message. Unwrapping the roll-up, the headman informs that the heroes have to stay in the village longer. Scarlet says that the king's army is advancing with renewed vigor. The headman leaves the room to break the news to Kaleem. Satis doesn't understand how the king decided to attack with his weakened army. The demoness guesses and tells Seto that they really need to stay in the village for a while. Meanwhile, the team of heroes are fighting the monsters with all their might. That's when Sebek comes in. Ryle sees the half-breed for the first time. In a flash, the team realizes that Sebek is a warrior with a magic sword. The swordswoman accuses Sebek because in order to apply to demons, you have to fall as low as possible. The half-breed replies that it doesn't matter to him who to fight for, and he just enjoys killing his enemies. Sebek tells Reed that his justice is only hatred for the demons. But he doesn't blame the commander, as such men are needed to continue the wars that are part of their lives. Sebek points his sword, summoned with viper venom at Raid, and calls him to a duel. Sebek's aura taunts Raid. The duel stops before it begins, as a messenger arrives for Sebek. The king orders the half-breed to go to the western front, then to the eastern front and stand in battle formation. The news pleases Sebek. Sebek joyfully leaves the squad. One of the monsters resents him for not finishing his work. The half-breed says it's a simple job and the squad can handle it on their own. After Sebek leaves, the low-ranking monsters engage the hero squad. Gare gets hit in the head with a club. Raid instructs Sebek to not jump over his head and retreat. The commander wants to solve the monster problem in one sitting. Raid kills the monsters with one swing of his sword. A delighted Gare calls him one of the bravest in her thoughts. A team of 5 heroes, using magic and swords, come out victorious. However, one of the mages, Makrin, lies motionless on the ground. Sitting around the campfire, the team pays for the death of their comrade. Angelica yells at Ryle as they are left without food and water. A depressed Gare only watches her comrades fight. She had hoped that her trek with her team would be full of happy moments. The swordswoman wonders what Seto would do, since this guy has lived his entire life in battle. Arwidi grabs Gare and asks him if he despises the commander. He reminds her that everyone on the team hated Seto, but it's too late to remember him.
Rid topples Gaira over.
Arwidi yells at Gare, reminding her that her behavior is against morality. The frightened girl asks the commander to calm down. Angelica observes this scene and smirks sinisterly. Angelica tells Gare that her martial arts are very meaningful, but they are not enough in battle. Angelica calls the girl baggage. Reed supports Angelica, saying that Gare has ambition but lacks strength. The dumbfounded girl wonders if she joined the team for a good cause. She realizes if she was chosen like Seto, she would be an embarrassment to the clan. Gare bows her head in an earthly bow and forgives her comrades not to abandon her. This picture makes Angelica laugh. Angelica takes Gare by the face and gives her orders. The girl must find Seto and bring him to the team. The frightened and tired girl gets up to hit the road. With a smirk, Angelica says she will use Gare from now on. Angelica announces to Rado that it is now just the two of them. The commander says that he is much calmer now. Rado would love to have Makrin with them, but since that's not possible now, he's not too upset. With a sneer, Rado says that Makrin's skills were pretty meager. Gare, meanwhile, continues on her way crying. She realizes that Rado and Angelica have changed a lot, but naively hopes that if she brings Seto along, things will get better. Gare is determined to find Seto. Seto hunts for herons in the forest. With one shot, he kills a bird. A man named Ryoto emerges from the bushes and praises Seto's skills. It is the 5th day that Satis and Seto have been in the village. During this time, they help the villagers with hunting. At the lodge, Ryoto asks Seto why he can't do simple household chores, as the kid has fallen many times with plates in his hands. Seto refuses, saying that even a wooden plate can be broken if he wants to. Seto asks Ryoto how he ended up in this village. After all, Ryoto is a famous sniper. The kid expresses his respect for the man, but Ryoto says that he's not as good as the boy makes him out to be. He is only a killer that took many lives and now hides in the shadows. Rubbing the hair on Seto's head, Ryoto instructs him to mind his own business. On the hill, Seto watches the rams grazing peacefully and the huts standing. Seto sits quietly on the grass and thinks how many such beautiful and peaceful places there are in the world. In the distance, he sees a man that walks up to him and calls him by name. This is Kaleem, who is making her rounds. The girl says that she envies Seto since he was able to get along with Ryoto. Kaleem shares that she was once in love with a man similar to Ryoto, but he dumped her despite everything the girl did for him. The girl says she used to give him money for sake, rice, and gambling. But as soon as she ran out of savings and borrowed some money from the barracks, she was immediately sent to the village. However, Kaleem is not angry with her former lover, as he is an excellent ground soldier. Kaleem tells her that the man's name is Holmes. The familiar name shocks Seto. The boy is perplexed as to what this man does. Kaleem gets up from her seat and says goodbye to the guy, as she needs to continue her work. At home, Satis treats Seto to her homemade pie, the recipe for which she got from Scarlet. Seto loves the treat, as it tastes better than a restaurant pie. Satis offers Seto to take a day off and go on a picnic together. The boy doesn't know what a picnic is, and the girl calmly explains to him that it is a type of vacation in which one admires the scenery and has fun. Satis asks Seto to pour tea, but warns him not to drop the dishes. Seto resolutely decides to fulfill his friend's request. Over a cup of tea, Seto says that the drink tastes much better than water. Satis tells the boyfriend that there will be more sweets tomorrow, and the boyfriend can't wait for tomorrow to come. In the evening, Seto goes to the bathtub, and the girl left alone plans to thoroughly wash the kid who washes himself so quickly. In the bathroom, Seto is calmly taking a bath. The equipment in this room is as good as the capitals. Seto goes over the names of the new adults in his head: Kaleem, Scarlet, and Ryoto. They are all fine people, unlike any the boy has met before. The boy douses himself with water. He wants to stay in this village longer. Suddenly, Satis walks into the bathroom. She tells Seto that he probably didn't wash himself properly. Seto says Satis' name perplexedly. Pak the girl smiles cheerfully. The girl walks around the bathroom carefree. Meanwhile, a flushed Seto asks her what she forgot in the bathroom. The girl says she'll show Seto how to wash his body. Satis sits the boy down and lathers up his hair. Satis, humming to herself, calmly washes her friend's head. Meanwhile, Seto obediently sits back down. The boy notes to himself that the girl is pleasantly soaping his head, but he is confused by the fact that Satis' body is too close to him. The girl sees the scars of knives and torture on the boy's back. Though Seth is a child, his back gives away bitter experience. After washing his head, the kid sits in the water while Satis douses himself with water behind his back. This fact makes Seto very nervous. He desperately tries to fight the urge to look at Satis, but the girl gigglingly rests her back against the guy's back as she plunges into the water. Seto realizes that something is clearly going wrong, so he bursts out of his seat and runs out of the bathtub. The demoness only smilingly reproaches herself for being too assertive. In Seto's room, he wants to change before Satis comes out. However, only the girl's clothes are in the basket. The boy's hand reaches for it, but stops abruptly. Satis hears a bang on the door. She asks her friend what it was, but catches Seth with a bruise on his cheek. After a bath, the boy lies tiredly on the couch. A girl approaches the boy and gives him a glass of water. She suggests that the long bath has made Seto dizzy. Satis suggests that Seto sleep together, sharing a bed. When he hears this, he chokes on the water and runs out of the room, wishing the girl a good night. The demoness smiles and hopes that Seto will get used to it soon. Seto peeks out from behind the door and bragging to Satis for a bath together. The heroes go to bed separately. The next day, the heroes go to the picnic site with a basket in their hands. After spreading a blanket, they lie down under a tree. Satis takes out sandwiches and vegetables from the basket. Seto admires the food. Seto greedily takes a bite of the sandwich, then praises the girl's cooking. Seto says that the vastness of nature makes him feel tiny. Satis supports his friend's words and says that even castles made of gold and silver can't compare to the beauty of nature. After a snack, Seth is drawn to sleep. The girl carefully tucks him on her lap. The guy feels nostalgic and shares this with the girl. Satis suggests that perhaps Seto's ancestors came to this place, and their memory is displayed in Seto's mind. And now the force of nature imprinted in the kid's head makes him feel nostalgic. Under the girl's story, the boy falls asleep. After sleeping, Seto pulls himself up and Satis gathers the bedspread. After looking at the neighborhood, Seto plans to go for a walk. After warning the girl, he wakes up on the way, but suddenly falls down. A frightened Satis rushes to her friend's aid. Satis finds Seto in a strange tunnel. The boy asks the girl to come down to him to figure out where he's gone. The girl goes down and uses magic to light up the tunnel. As they walk forward, they look at the totem that were meant as a tribute to the gods. Satis says they were carved by a tribe that lived in this place many years ago. Touching the totem, the girl notes that they are not wood-like in structure, more like stone. Satis tries to figure out who is the owner of the totems here. The heroes go to the central room and see an altar in front of them. The girl gets smart and tells the guy about one of the legends. Many years ago, the monsters were divided into factions, but after a time they began to band together under the title of Demon King. And only one of the factions did not submit, namely the Wendigo faction, who were nature spirits. These spirits have existed since the beginning of time, and the tunnel served as a place for Wendigo worship. Satis satisfied with Satis' story, Seto wants to go back, but the admiring girl can't just leave such a historically important place. While the girl examines the walls, Seto watches her. He has never seen Satis so keenly interested in something before. The guy catches himself thinking too much, thinking about the demoness, telling you off for it. He averts his gaze to the altar. To his surprise, there is someone sitting at the back of the altar. The image of a creature wearing a cloak with many developing square hems that look like tentacles appears before your eyes. A shocked and frightened Seto wonders what it is. Satis moves closer to her friend. She has already called out to him several times. The kid apologizes for the long answer and points behind the altar. Looking in the direction Seto is pointing, the girl discovers nothing. On the hunt, Seto shares with Redo the stuffing of the tunnel. The sniper confirms Satis' words and says that the Wendigo were indeed worshipped in this place. Redo asks Seto to visit a shaman named Jendar, who lives on the western edge of the village. Seto decides to go for it and visits the shaman. His old house is already falling apart, and there are totems sticking out in the ground near it. Once inside, Seto is greeted by an old man with feathers in his long hair. Jendar calls Seto the boy of destruction and storm. Seto is surprised that the old man knows him by name. Jendar pours black tea for his guest. The old man explains that the totems that Seto and Satis saw symbolize death, and that the oldest of the Wendigo, a hospital, was worshipped in that tunnel. For the Yeller tribe, this is the primary deity. The deity appeared when darkness enveloped the world. From his body, he created life. He spent 10,000 years to create water, sky, animals, and after that man. Seth listens to this legend with interest, sipping his tea. The old man says that any life will return to Ahas, and in the next will become food for others. And those who despise the lives of others, Ahas despises himself. Seto says a video in the tunnel of a man with tentacles, which makes the old man drop his tea in shock. He can't believe the boy saw Ahas. Seto says that unlike him, Satis didn't see Ahas. The old man reassures him that the boy was definitely not imagining things. The old man also saw Ahas a long time ago, but since he showed his face to Seto, he must have considered him special. But this is very strange for Seto, since the boy has taken a huge number of lives. The old man suggests that Ahas may be testing Seto. The old man says that you can tell from the boy's eyes that he has overcome his inner conflict. He also says that Seto and Satis will soon be visited by an unexpected guest. This guest will be a haggard woman with crazy eyes. The old man blesses the boy. After Seto leaves, the shaman notes with a smile that the hero will be able to overcome all the problems. Meanwhile, a distraught Gara screams Seto's name in the forest. At night, Seto can't sleep. He keeps thinking about Asa and the unknown guest who will visit him soon. Seto goes outside to get some rest. A beautiful moon is shining overhead, which the hero admires. After walking for a while, the hero finally falls asleep. Seto plans to go back to his room, but sees a tired Gara in front of him. Seto grabs his sword out of surprise. Gara smilingly reprimands the hero, saying that unlike the team of heroes who are trying to save humanity, Seto is living his life quietly. Seto asks her how she managed to find him. The girl replies that she had been gathering information, and the townspeople had told her about Seto and Satis. Gara's past image flashes before the young man's eyes. She was completely different. In a mad smile, Gara asks Seto to come back, because her team needs the hero's strength more than ever. But Seto only apologizes to the girl and puts his blade away. Seto says he won't be returning to the team. This leaves the girl distraught, and she comes closer and punches the guy in the face. In a harrowing scream, Gara orders the boy to obey and comply with the adult's request. Seto refuses to comply, whereupon Gara bare her blade. However, Gara fails to strike in time. Satis grabs the blade of her blade. Upon seeing the demoness, the swordswoman accuses her of allegedly brainwashing the hero. Gara recognizes Satis as the general of the demon army. The demoness breaks the swordswoman's blade with one hand, leaving Gara horrified. Satis asks Seto to run away while she fights Gara. Seto doesn't like the idea, as he is worried about the demoness, but she convinces him that now she is not as tired and scared as the girl he met in the forest. Gara pulls out a strange pill she once took from the leader of a group of bandits. After taking the strange pill, Gara gains beastly strength. With a smirk, Satis tells Gara that the magic drug won't help her defeat the demoness. But that doesn't bother the swordswoman. Now after taking the drug she will at least have fun. Gara is quick with her kicks, paralleling that demoness is only introducing Seto by the nose. Meanwhile, Satis defends herself from elbow strikes. Satis, stop defending herself, strikes her opponent's stomach with her fist. Afterwards, he finishes her off with a leg kick to the head. Satis explains that she doesn't plan to argue with someone whose mind is so rotten. After regaining her composure, Gara retaliates with a leg kick, but the demoness defends herself. After the swordswoman hits the girl's sternum with her elbow, causing Satis to fly away. A flustered Seto all but shouts his friend's name. Urur does not crush Satis, and Hydra notes that the demoness is quite strong. Satis admits to the swordswoman that she is no longer a soldier, and neither is Seto, but no matter what Satis proves now, Hydra's own clouded mind cannot make her understand what is happening. With renewed vigor, Satis attacks Gara, while Seto anxiously watches the battle. Kalim comes to the aid of Satis. The mercenary knocks Gara down, and the demoness finishes her attack with a leg kick to her opponent's face. The defeated Gara lies motionless on the ground while Kalim, having bared her blade, asks her to surrender in the name of the village. Satis and Seto decide to leave the village. Over a cup of tea, Satis tells the headman about Gara and apologizes for the inconvenience. Scarlet marvels at the fact that the demon girl is protecting the humans. The headman admits that the whole village knew that Satis was not human. Hearing such a thing, the demon girl asks why she was allowed to stay. With a smile, Scarlet explains to Satis that they have a very eccentric village and every resident can find peace in it. Satis realizes that her attitude towards people was wrong. For a very long time, she looked at them with arrogance. After listening to the old woman, the girl cannot contain her emotions and, crying, thanks Scarlet. A rewound Gara wakes up in an unknown room. The heroes are sitting in the carriage of an elderly couple. Seto counts how many provisions they have been given for the journey. Amongst everything, boiled and smoked meat. Satis jokingly says that Seto will surely be liked by the villagers. These words confuse the guy. The girl notes that the village exceeded expectations. What surprised her the most was that the villagers accepted them for who they are. Moving closer to the elderly couple, Satis thanks them for agreeing to give them a ride. Though the war has subsided, Hydra is still bothering Satis. The demoness says that the Demon King has begun to lose to the heroes' team. But Grandfather is surprised to clarify if the heroes have heard the latest news. Grandpa clarifies that the hero team is considered missing. Its last appearance was in the same village with a large lake. Seto immediately recognizes the place. The same place where the boy fought with the team for the last time. The grandfather also shares a rumor of frequent attacks on caravans. It is believed that the team of 5 heroes is behind this. Grandpa suggests a stop and Satis treats everyone to sausages. The travelers sit under a tree and have a snack. Seto reflects on what he has heard. He can't believe that Reed has become a bandit, and Hydra's change character alarms him. The boy assumes there has been an accident. After meeting with Hydra, Seto realizes that he doesn't want to live as an ordinary soldier, because he has finally become a person. And all the changes happen next to Satis, who now looks at Seto with a smile. After a snack, Seto hears Aha's footsteps, but doesn't realize what the sound is. Turning around, Seto observes the deity in all his glory. Aha stands motionless in front of him. However, Aha simply turns around and walks away. A concerned Satis runs up to Seto, but still can't see the deity. The kid concludes that only he can see Ahas. Suddenly, a letter appears in the youth's hands. Satis calls the lad to go on a road trip. Seth asks the girl what the name of the town they're headed to is. Turns out it's Elendona, or the Kitchen of Adventure. Meanwhile, a low demon named Gabiroku clears the battlefield, then calls out to Sebek. The half-breed praises the demon's work. Gabiroku asks if the Orc King is all right. Sebek does not give a definite answer, but only tells how the Orc King left the battlefield, leaving all his duties to his subordinates. Sebek calls such an act cowardly, and Gabiroku asks the half-breed to choose his words. Pointing to the many dead bodies on the battlefield, Sebek tells Gabiroku that he needs to clean up. Gabiroku recalls that when he and Sebek first arrived, the Orc army had already been destroyed, but once the half-breed went into battle, he fought for 1,000 soldiers. Gabiroku directly asks Sebek if the demon army has a future, since the discipline and morale of the demons is worse than ever, and the defeat started after Satis expelled their army. Sebek does not care who he is fighting for or what the morale of his comrades is. However, Gabiroku is unhappy that the Demon King decided to humiliate Satis before his death by torturing him. Pointing a finger in Gabiroku's face, Sebek asks him to voice his displeasure to the king's face. The words make the demon timid, and the half-breed smiles at his comrade's reaction, expressing his desire to reach the next battlefield. Sebek shares that he wants to fight someone stronger and die at the hands of someone who is stronger than the half-breed. In his thoughts, Gabiroku realizes that the Demon King is very close to failure, and Sebek is the only hope for victory. Sebek reminds Gabiroku that the Demon King gave them some sort of instructions. The demon says that they need to go to the Wendigo lands and destroy everything there, to intimidate their enemies. Unfolding the map, Sebek sees the adventure kitchen. An ecstatic Sebek burns with what he senses is a beautiful battle ahead. Satis wakes up Seto, which is sleeping peacefully on her lap. The girl announces her imminent arrival and asks the guy to look outside. The guy gets a view of a huge city with the sea. Seto says he had no idea how big the sea was. The guy wants to try sushi by catching fish from the sea. The guy explains that sushi is raw fish and rice. The girl replies that she has never tried something like that. The heroes plan to explore the town and try sushi after they find an overnight stay. In the city, the couple finds a store with Japanese characters. The heroes enter a restaurant and take a seat in front of the sushi man. The chef offers them to choose a dish, onigiri or atsumami. But neither Seto nor Satis order, as it is the first time they hear these words. The waitress apologizes for the sushi maker's behavior and explains to the heroes that onigiri is a snack in the form of a triangle of rice with a filling inside. And atsumami is also a type of snack. The heroes make an order, and they get sushi and sashimi on the table. The beauty and exoticism makes the heroes gasp. The waitress says that sashimi must be eaten with chopsticks, while sushi can be eaten with hands. Taking the chopsticks in his hands, Seto carefully places a piece of fish in his mouth. The appetizer is to the liking of both Satis and Seto. The girl picks up the sushi and dips it in the sauce. The texture of the fish and the flavor of the rice delights Satis. The characters share their reactions while the sushi lady smiles contentedly. Suddenly, bandits enter the diner. The waitress frighteningly informs them that all the tables are occupied, but the criminals don't even want to hear it and demand to vacate the table. One of the sushi men asks the bandits to leave the establishment, but this only makes the uninvited guests laugh. The biggest criminal notices Satis and asks her to follow them, but she notices Seto's furious look. The bandit exposes his blade and then licks the blade. He tells Seto that he doesn't like the hero's eyes. The bandit then attacks the kid, saying that he will kill him. The bandit attacks Seto, but the kid grabs a mug with sake and throws it towards the man. The alcohol stings the criminal's eyes, making them unable to open. Seizing the moment, Seto wraps his hands behind the villain's back and holds the bandit's blade to his throat. The bandit orders to kill Satis. One of the criminals points a blade at the girl and says that he will kill the demoness if the kid doesn't let the leader go. But Seto warns him not to point a gun at his friend. The bandit realizes that his sword is starting to feel lighter. It's with the help of magic Satis warps the bandit's blade and afterwards delivers a fist blow to his face. She declares that she asked for a reason to just leave her alone. The rest of the bandits run away from the restaurant, but before they can escape, they are overtaken by one of the guards of the city. This guard is the captain of the city garrison named Osirisa, dressed in a metal suit. Standing in a majestic pose, Osiris says that he will punish the bandits, but this time the criminals manage to escape. However, the criminals are reached by Osiris's magic sword. The captain is not happy that the bandits have decided to make a mess at his favorite establishment. Upon entering the restaurant, Osiris sees Seto, who has already managed to tie up the bandits. Osiris and Seto, two wielders of a magic sword, meet eyes. Osiris also recognizes Satis and wonders what the demoness has forgotten in his city, while the girl herself looks awkwardly at the guard.